All right, this has been intense day one. Last but not least, Andy. At least I think he says okay. I call him Andy. I remember we started chatting on Handshake Mercenary BBS like a couple of years ago now. So it's a pleasure to have you here and to see you continuing to build and contribute towards Handshake and just like this title of the show is freeing the internet. That's what it's about. So we're a little bit past time, and I will pass the stage to you. Is it screen share, demo, PowerPoint? What do we got here, Andy?
I will screen share. I will show a presentation just to be sure that everything runs smoothly. So you should be seeing it. Thank you for the intro, and thank you for having me again.
Oh, it's
you
our
should
pleasure.
now see my
I
presentation.
see your screen. I see your slide. First page of your slide. Great.
Perfect.
I will disappear.
All right. So thank you. Hi, everyone. Awesome to be here again for the third time. I hope I can still tell you something new, and for everyone who hasn't seen or heard about HNSSearch, I hope you can learn something new. So I will be talking about HNSSearch, the current state, and where I would like it to go in the future. So who are we? Last year when I presented this, we were 2 people working on HNSSearch. So far, the other person jumped off. So actually right now it's just me. So it's a bit of a one-man show doing it on the side, but still having a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, let's see what I've been up to in the last couple of months. I did take a break last year just to sort some things out, but now back at it with full force. So when we talk about search engines, I think it's important to quickly understand the basic architecture of a search engine. So it all starts with the crawling. So crawling is basically searching the internet, searching other websites for content based on certain rules. In our case, just rules that check whether a site is an HNS, a handshake site, or not. Then the crawler itself or a separate entity will index all of the content it finds, put it in a database so it can be searched later. And at the end, of course, the search engine wouldn't be much value if you couldn't be searching. So the search aspect is also important. At HNSSearch, we have actually divided the crawling and the indexing into one piece of software and the searching into another one. The idea here is that you can use each one separately. So if you have your own index, you could use the search front end and hook it up to your index, or if you want to use the HNSSearch index, you can build your own front end and connect to the index. If we look at the basic architecture at the bottom, we have Linda, which is our indexer. I'll be speaking about that in a bit. dwebpulse, which is basically the home of the index where it will be accessible, the public index, and the search engine, which is the front end. The front end is the part which will be centralized. It will be centralized because that's just a hosted website, but everything then down in the pyramid will be eventually decentralized and publicly available. So Linda at the bottom of the pyramid is so called because it's a living indexer navigating decentralized assets. She is basically our crawler. She searches the web, the dweb in that case, and provides us with all the necessary websites. So some technical details, she's written in Python. She controls which sites are being crawled, how they are being indexed, which content is being scraped from the web, and is also doing machine learning analysis where she checks what type of content is on the website. Is it a news website? Is it a blog? And then stores that information within a category on the database. That will come in handy for dwebpulse, as you'll see shortly. She is built for Handshake websites. That's the main purpose, but can be extended to other protocols very easily. Is currently closed source, but will be open sourced and made publicly available once she's finished. But she still has a lot of work to do. Then the second part, DWeb Pulse, not yet fully implemented, but is basically the open index that is provided by Linda with the categories. And it gives every user the possibility to check for a certain domain or website what the category is, and then provide feedback whether that category is wrong, or if it's right, you don't have to do anything. And that will come in handy a bit later. You'll see how these categories can be used. So DWeb Pulse in itself is a public index of HNS websites. It provides the content-based categorization. Any user can then make change requests. And based on those categories, you will be able to create block list templates for your search. So even within HNSSearch, you will be able to say, I don't want to see this category. I don't want to see this type of content. And those categories come from DWeb Pulse. That's why it's also important that everyone can give their feedback and request category changes. Also, of course, as the machine learning model will not be 100% perfect. And it will offer a great great API for other search engines where you can directly hook up to the index and create your own search engine. So you're not dependent on the HNSSearch front end in itself. This one is still under development. I'm hoping to push it out for testing soon. So I'll keep you posted once that's live. Then at the top, the public index, that, by the way, just comes with DWeb Pulse. And at the top, we have HNSSearch, the front end itself. And now we are actually in alpha testing, and we actually so far indexed about 125 unique TLDs that amount to 210 different sites. And in total, we've indexed 621 pages. The crawler is running day and night, but it just has a bit trouble finding all your Handshake sites. So therefore, we'll provide a missing site form soon, where you can actually let me know if a website is missing. I will go into detail a bit later how the crawling actually works. For the alpha testers, I've received a lot of great feedback. Thank you, everyone who helped discover new bugs or requested new features. It's been awesome so far. We've actually amounted to 300 unique visitors that did 1,200 page views together and came from 33 different countries. Now, when you see such statistics, I can imagine that you're worried about tracking or like user data being stored. I can assure you that we do not store any user data, like even your search results or your search terms are not tracked. I do not see those. We are using, or I'm using Plausible as which is an open source analytics tool, and I just see those numbers. Like I'm not tracking anything else, and like I said, I don't see search terms. But I think it's interesting just to see how many views and how many visitors we have, just also to see what's going on. So yeah, thank you everyone for testing. It's still open for testing, so you can go ahead and visit it at hnssearch.io. The Handshake URL will also be available in time, just now focused on other things to develop. But it is open. Keep in mind, it is still in testing, so there might be bugs or performance issues. But if you notice something, just let me know. You can hit us up on Twitter at HNSSearch or in the Handshake Discord. Feedback is highly appreciated because that will help us grow and develop it further. On the front end UI side, you can see it's a standard search UI. It comes in dark and light mode based on your preferences of the operating system. You can search a term and it will give you back the desired results. We are using, by the way, HNSSearch in the back, which is a super cool search engine that is typo resistant. So even if you would like here put the shake without an A, it will still find you good results. And HNSSearch is really fast, so it's really awesome to integrate. I just dropped a new feature yesterday, which I'd like to call info boxes, where if you search for something related that has a page on Handypedia, it will show up as a small info box on the right side. This only on desktop and tablets. I don't want to crowd the mobile experience too much, so this feature is only on mobile, only on desktop and tablets, and not on mobile. So if you have a project, feel free or please add a page to Handypedia, which I think it's really a great resource. So please consider adding a page or hit me up and I can help you with creating one, because that will just increase also our index for the info boxes. One other feature which we have in HNSSearch is the shortcuts, which lets you directly go to another website by using these shortcuts. I will quickly show you a demonstration and then you can see what shortcuts are available. Hopefully you get a better sense of it. So as you can see, you enter the shortcut and then you enter the search term, you search, and it automatically redirects you to your desired site. So if we have a look, those are the shortcuts which are currently available. If you have the desire for more or another shortcut, just let me know. This can be implemented easily, and I'll be happy to integrate your favorite Handshake related site, or we can see what else you have in mind. So what is currently being developed on HNSSearch? So the next few features that are going to be coming out is a website list. It was requested that the whole index is just browsable without having to search. So I'm working on that just so you can actually see what has been built, because I think one of the big challenges now is to not necessarily find what you're looking for, but actually not knowing what you're looking for, because we are still in the early days and there are not that many websites. So that website list is coming soon. I'll be adding infinite scrolling on mobile, so you don't have to use pagination. The missing site form, as mentioned before, where you can let me know if there are websites missing, and the index will be publicly released together with the testing website of TWebPulse. Maybe a little bit more about the missing sites. So Linda actually acts as a standard crawler, in the sense that she actually goes to a starting page and then she finds all the URLs on that page, and from there she spreads and finds further pages until she can't find any more pages. So if you have a website on Handshake that doesn't link, or that no other site links to, Linda will have a hard time finding it. So therefore, we'll provide this missing site form. But just if you don't see your site, just let me know. I can add it to the starting list and it will be crawled within a day. But just so you understand why sometimes sites don't appear, or why you cannot find them. So a bit more about the vision, now that we talked about the the state of HNSSearch. So that's what's currently available. The front end is already open sourced. You can find it on the GitHub page. You can clone it, you can use it, you can adapt it, and the rest will be open sourced as soon as it's ready. So for the vision is a free and open source crawler indexer, which has an open and distributed index, distributed in the sense that it's not only stored on one server, but actually distributed across many nodes, many servers, so that it actually cannot be taken down. It should be at all times accessible and also not dependent on just HNSSearch. The vision is also that once this index is decentralized and publicly available, that other people will build their own front ends and will integrate the index or extend their existing indexes. And that you, as a user, get full control. Full control in the sense you decide what you want to see and what you don't want to see. We won't block your search results. So you actually really have full control. The search results are also provided based on content. So there is no, excuse me, elaborate ranking mechanism, but it's really what suits your search term the most. Then, as already mentioned, no data logging or tracking. So we do not wish to monitor everything you do on HNSSearch, but actually let you enjoy the privacy of your own searches. And as mentioned, a network of nodes where the index is so distributed that it cannot be taken down. So what is the concrete vision for HNSSearch itself? So HNSSearch will be the standalone website which acts as a front end. It is a convenience thing where you, again, give up a bit of the decentralization, as we heard already earlier in talks. It is centralized, but we try to make it as decentralized as possible. But in the end, if you use HNSSearch itself, you are dependent on its uptime. But that's why the index itself should and will be decentralized, so you will always have access to it. We will integrate the block lists where you can choose yourself based on category circles, what you want to see and what you don't want to see. And the idea here is that HNSSearch will build a circle, but also renowned projects around Handshake can build their own circle, and you can just use their circle. That will be a config URL, which you can post into HNSSearch, and we will apply those. So if you wish to use other, maybe stricter filters, other companies, projects can provide their own circle, and your search results will be filtered accordingly. It will be fully open source, so anyone can use the code, take the code, modify the code, and of course also contribute if they see fit. The index is swappable, or will be swappable, which means that you can input another index into the front end. So if you have an index online, but you don't want to use or build your own front end, you will be able to just in the settings attach your index, and you will search that through the front end. And we'll be providing a custom toolkit, so it's super easy to create your own search engines. I think search should be spread across, and you should have full control, so want to make it as easy as possible for you. And then the end vision, or the ultimate vision, is a desktop client where we really will have a fully decentralized search engine with index sharing. So you will have the control. The client will be on your desktop. As soon as you boot it up, you will connect to the decentralized index. You will be hosting the index yourself. It will sync with everything that's happened, and you will have the opportunity to launch your own crawler, which then pumps sites back into the index. So it will be really an index maintained by the community. And you have also here the control whether you want to provide information to the index or not. You can also just crawl for yourself and keep your private index, which then you will have just to host yourself. With the crawler, I'm still working on an incentive structure where you actually do get paid or get some incentives to actually running a crawler, because it would be awesome if it wouldn't just depend on one or two crawlers, so we can really keep extending everything Handshake, or also other DWeb protocols. As I mentioned, Lynda is very easily extendable to other protocols, even to the standard web. It's just some settings that need to be modified. Yeah, I think that's it for the quick overview of the state of what's coming. So I'll be working again on it with high pressure. I really love working on it. It was good I took this break, but I'm glad I'm back to it. And the feedback so far has been amazing. So thank you everyone who has been a tester. Thank you to everyone that will be a tester. Again, you can reach it at HNSSearch.io. You can hit us up on Twitter at HNSSearch. If you have any questions or anything, just ask us or ask me. I'll be happy to help you, to talk to you, or to answer any questions. And I see we have already also questions here, so I think I'll go through them. So the first one I can see is, has HNSSearch established any preferences for SEO in our site pages that would facilitate its function? We do crawl robots.txt files and sitemaps. So if you have a sitemap, which is basically a tree of your structure, then that will help, of course, discover all your pages. And robots.txt, which is basically a standard protocol which tells a crawler what to crawl and what not to crawl. So Lynda respects that, which means you can put sites you specifically don't want to be crawled in there, and we will leave it be. Other than that, it's really just how well your content matches the search term. So what doesn't work, for example, is keyword spamming. So if you put, for example, the word fund 50 times in your content, it doesn't mean that it will rank more. It will rank higher if you search for fund. So it's really how well the content matches the search term. But other than that, yeah, just create a robots.txt file and the sitemap. Sitemaps would be great because it's really difficult if you don't link to your pages, to find them. Great. So let's see. I see now the questions are also on screen. I think that one should be answered, I hope. If we expand the site's link, how long before it would be crawled again, or could we submit it to the missing site form and bring that form? If you expand it right now, I'm still figuring out what the update rate of pages is. Currently, it's 1 week, but if you add it to the missing sites, it's 1 day once the missing site form is, because the crawler does multiple cycles per day. So far, the refresh rate is set to 1 week. It will be adjusted based on the update frequency of a website. So Lynda is actually now building a model where she actually is checking how often sites are updated, and will update the refresh rate accordingly. It will always be maximum a week, but for example, for websites that are known to change every day, the refresh rate will go down. Good. Let's see if there are any. So for feature requests, currently you can either write them on the Handshake Discord. There is a there is a projects page for HNSSearch. You can send them on Twitter, or you can open a issue on GitHub if that's more your style. I will be adding a feature board where you can add features and upvote them, but that's also so far in the works. But any requests are highly appreciated, and we've been known to implement them rather quickly if they're easily doable. Otherwise, they will for sure be put on the list and will be implemented later. But yeah, those are the channels you can find us. Currently, we're not, or I'm not actively looking for investments. We're always happy for any help or any donations or any grants that I can receive, since this is a side job, I would call it, and we do not have any active funding. But there are actually many ways you can contribute to HNSSearch, one of which is just testing the site. Another one is actually building Handshake websites. Then also, as I mentioned, providing Handypedia pages, which then can be crawled, or reviewing our code, or just letting us know what you would like to see. Donations are appreciated, of course, since this is a side project or an unpaid job, which I do on the side from my main job. But they're not necessary. I mean, it's already super nice if people give feedback, test the site. And there is actually on HNSSearch, if you go on the top to the About section in the documentation, there is a how to contribute site, which we just launched yesterday, where you can see all the ways you can actually help and contribute. I'm curious the difference between DNS-based sites, traditional sites, HNS, and IPFS sites for search engine. So in the site itself, there is not much difference. Just HNS sites tend to be more programmed like the sites from the early internet days, but tech-wise, there is not much difference. IPFS sites, they do tend to behave a bit differently when you call them on the URL. But in terms of technical things, there is really not much difference besides the fact on how you reach them. I think that's the tricky part when creating a crawler, is how do you actually tell frameworks that exist to go to an HNS site, and how do you discover if something is an HNS site or if it's a ICANN site. But the technical things and how you build the websites is basically the same, depending on, of course, what you want to integrate. But yeah, I think we covered all the questions. So yeah, thank you very much for all your questions, for your interest. If you have more questions, just hit us up on Twitter. You can find us there or here now at HandyCon. I'll be around. Just hit me up in the chat. Thank you everyone for your feedback, for testing HNSSearch, and for all the love you send our way. It's really a big motivator to keep on doing it, and I really hope we can make the vision come true and provide everyone with a fully decentralized search engine. Yeah, I think that's it. And I think we even stayed within the time slot.
Glasses on. Which hat? I got my OG legit hat. Let me put that one on.
Nice.
It's just not as, like the flamingo sticks up, so normal hats don't fit. That's why I have this other one that flip up. Anyway, great. Oh, the Kirk's here. See? That's legit. Anyways, awesome. Thanks, Andy. Really, really appreciate what you're doing. It's like a side hustle, building a search engine for the decentralized internet. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. It's like, oh, I'm on the side building a search engine for decentralized web.
It's a wild ride, but it's awesome. It's fun.
That's really great. Fun. I mean, we really commend you, and all of us. We're all, I know a lot of others are, doing this. Even me, I'm an Amazon seller and e-commerce, marketing company. By day, and at night I wear flamingo glasses and My daughter doesn't know what I really do and tells her parents crazy or her teachers crazy stories about me. But anyway, I really appreciate it. I mean, there was some other questions in chat, I think from Encrypted. It wasn't in a Q&A, but yeah, I think the main point is you just seem to want more feedback and,
exactly. And more
people
sites.
using it more. That basically seems like your main call to action is people giving you more suggestions. I don't know if you answered it, but somebody says, where can they put feature requests or feedback? Is there like a wiki or a board, like some of those feature
like I
boards
said,
or
on
something?
Discord or on Twitter, so far on GitHub on the repo of the front end, but there will be a feature board released soon because I think that will be super useful.
Got it. All right. Well, I know it's late for you, late for everybody, but yeah, I think we're basically on time. So, yeah, I think unless you have any other points, I really appreciate it. I think everyone's here thanking you, and yeah.
Just to thank you also for setting up HandyCon. It's awesome for the third time in a row, and I'm really grateful to be on again.
Yeah, no, we all do what we can. I'm not a developer, so I do this, and you're a developer and you're doing that. So that's what it's about, right? We do what we're good at, and just keep pushing our limits and contributing. But yeah, I guess yeah. I mean, I get even a little bit emotional with these things. We just got to keep pushing our boundaries as a community. I'm seeing some threads already from like Raul left a long thread on Twitter I was reading. But yeah, I think let's wrap up day one. Here we go. Another day exactly like this tomorrow with jam-packed sessions. Tomorrow's gonna be more about SLDs. Today was kind of protocol level and tech. Tomorrow's SLD discussions. And but I think I have a closing session. Do I have to do that, Penny? All right. Well, let's wrap this one up. I guess I'll just say some closing words, and then for those that want to stick around, and then I guess we got a leaderboard awards. So I think we'll end the HNS Search session with Andy. Thank you again, and then if you want to stick around for 5-10 more minutes, we'll do a closing. All right. Yeah, I'll do the closing in a second. Thanks, Andy.